The Generation Cowboys and Sports Talk. My dad, my partner, my co-host, Cowboy Joe 64.
I am the father.
Just to get the Cowboys 2 good games to hopefully understand that they need to go receiver and go high with this next pick.
Yeah, yeah, that's really what this is gonna be about.
All right, you looking live at Fastcast, Father and Son Cowboys and Sports Talks. I'm the host, DJ I Tell You What, aka Jules, and I'm live with my co-host, Cowboy Joe. Um, and we are a father and son duo content creators. And it's a week and a half, 2 weeks before the season, and we're gonna give y'all a little look into what we're look into our minds and see what we're feeling and what we're talking about, and conversate with you all and see how everyone's feeling. You want to say what's up to the people before we dive into today's show?
What's up, people? Appreciate you guys joining on a Saturday evening.
Yo. So I got a lot. Me and we can go for hours and hours and hours talking about this Micah deal. So I see you just sent me something from Terrence. So
Yeah, that picture you can pull it up. It's kind of interesting.
okay. So what are you feeling about Micah? And I mean, people, we got to give ourselves credit and give ourselves a pat on the back because we did. I mean, for the longest since this channel first started, we've been talking about this contract. I mean, since this channel first started 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, or however long it's been, last season, we were talking about this contract and what was going to transpire, and that he was going to unfollow the Cowboys, that it was going to be long and drawn out, and if they had learned anything, that it would be done early. But if they had not learned anything, it'd be long and drawn out, and he would unfollow the Cowboys, and all of would be going on. I didn't know that it would be this intense. I mean, but we kind of knew what we was getting into. So with all of that, it putting it all in perspective. What do you think about that?
So yeah, I follow a lot of people. I didn't hear anybody say that he would eventually unfollow the Cowboys, but us. I think we was probably the only one that said that. So we knew how this was going to go.
Hmm.
I do think now we got to look at, was it a good idea for him to go to camp? You know, he probably could have just done what CD did, just not go to camp. And a lot of the stuff that's happening now wouldn't be happening. But I mean, really, he tried to do the right thing, go in and be there. But it didn't work out that way. So I think the Stephen A. Smith interview, not a big fan of his normally, but he did one of the best interviews of Jerry that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And so he really asked him a lot of questions that your average media people don't ask him. He did ask him about 30-year drought. He didn't just knock it out of the park, but he did ask about it. He asked Jared some tough questions, and so just based on the interview with Stephen A. Smith, I really think something can be worked out. They can get it done, and also the interview that he did with the playmaker Michael Irvin.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping that today, probably starting on yesterday, that the playmaker is kind of like being a broker, just kind of pulling all the sides together. He really has that type of relationship with everybody involved. So hopefully he can just pull them together and say, "Hey, we need to get this worked out." So what you saw last night, this is Jerry at AT&T. Now that is supposed to be Michael's mom. A lot of people are saying that's his mom.
I mean, what is there a question?
Well, you're just seeing somebody in a number 11 jersey, but I've never seen her before. But if you look at Jerry, if they were really down on Micah, if they were not wanting to get this deal done and bridges were burned, he wouldn't be taking a picture like that. He could yeah, but Jerry is Jerry. So I still think it's a way for them to get this worked out.
Let me just do this real quick. I'll just
And
I'll
if
say
they were wanting to be traded and all that, would she be at the game wearing his jersey?
I'm gonna show everybody this. Just I don't know why people would be. This is Michael Parsons' mom. I just Googled Michael Parsons' mom. Michael
Hmm.
Parsons' mom. That's his mom. So just so people can understand, that's his mom, and that's his mom. That's the picture, but that's his mom.
So that is her, yeah.
Yeah. So the thing with that is, And then I did some research.
Shout out to B Bird.
Shout out to B Bird. And then I did some so they say that Terrence well they say that Micah's mom sought out Jerry, that she went looking for him. So
Well, let me stop you right there. So she sought him out. Why would he be walking through there in the middle of the crowd like that, which is odd?
I mean, I don't know, I don't think that that's odd.
Hmm.
I mean, why would it's not odd? And then Jerry going on his media tour right now, doing his thing, he's doing all of the CBS and all of the, he did the they had the practice at the Star Wednesday and Thursday, and he did he addressed the fans, and then he went on stage. Well, then he went to the ESPN. He did a couple of shows. He's done a couple of radio shows. He's doing all of this stuff. So that doesn't surprise me that he was at the game, the first game. Well, that he was at the game, and that he was walking around. He's probably doing his thing. He probably walked from the owners or wherever they were through there to the owners box or whatever. Those people that's probably down there. We've been to the stadium 1,000 times. People that's down there, they probably all got some kind of passes. It's probably like a certain spot where they could be at where, it's probably not more than 100 people. It might look like that, but it's probably like, they probably got the suites or whatever. And it's just, or, or it could be what it seems. It could be that Jerry specifically went down there to talk to Micah's mom. It could be that. It could very well be that, hey, Micah's mom is here. She's looking for you. She wants to have a word with you, take some photos, things like that. And there's Jerry walked on down. I'm sure Jerry's press, his public, and his press agent, they have, that I'm sure that Micah's parents and the players' parents, they have a number they can call to get in contact with Jerry, just like Dak and them do. If Dak wanna call Jerry tonight, he can. He can just call Jerry's person and say, "Hey, I'm trying to talk to Mr. Jones tonight." So and then that message will be relayed, and then that phone call will be made. So I'm sure that's not really odd. And I'll say this: what makes it even not more not odd is the fact that we know that this is Jerry's playing field. Micah's going to be a Cowboy for the next 3 years, no matter what. So it doesn't really matter what's going on right now. It's only going to hurt the team, and Jerry doesn't feel like it's going to hurt the team, because if he felt like it was going to help the team, then he would have signed him in March. So they don't really care about when Micah is signed. They feel like at this point, if Micah misses game, he's hurting the team, and that's on him, because they are paying him $25 million this year, regardless. And they can tag him again, and he's still getting paid. He's gonna get paid again if they tag him. So if he misses games, then he's hurting no one but himself and the team. I mean, it's really not much more to say than that. I mean, we got to this point in negotiations, and my experience in negotiations, the playing field is equal up until a certain point, and then once you get to a certain point in a negotiation, it really becomes it becomes a burden for one party or the other, and that's where we're at. We're just at the part where it's a burden for Micah at this point, because Jerry Jerry played his chess game. He played his piece. He moved his rook, or whatever, and he said, "We offer Micah to be the highest paid player, and that's it. And the guarantees is the highest paid non-quarterback." And then he went. Not only did he say that, he went on tour talking to many people and said and was asking them to tell Micah to come see me, and basically said, "I'm being black and white with it. Ain't no room for your agent. You know, it's only me and you talking about this." So it's kind of like you calling Jerry out. It's kind of like you calling Micah out, like, put your big boy pants on. And Jerry knows that in this type of league, that's not how these things are done. That's not how these things are done. It's like I would have asked Jerry, if I was Michael Irvin. I would have asked Jerry. I would have said, well, if you are buying a property, do you talk to the owner, or do you talk to the realtor? or when you have lawyers, Mr. Jones. So I'm sure you have lawyers. You don't talk to when you're doing a deal. You don't talk to the owner or the guy that's going to be your manager. You talk to the lawyers. That's what your lawyers talk for you. So imagine you trying to do a deal with the homeowner and not talking to the realtor. Or imagine if I was trying to buy a piece of property from you and you're talking to me and not talking to my realtor, the person that knows about these things. It's just like what it's just like you're trying. It's almost like you're trying to get something over on me. And what we're talking about is talking about him talking to the agent. Jerry, why are you scared of his agent? Because you're making it seem like it's a black and white thing. Got two brothers in this era. You can't be doing all of that. You got to just go ahead and just get this done and just cut it out because Todd France is not black. So it's just like what's going on to where it's just like if it's as simple as talking to his agent, you the big guy,
Yeah.
you write the check. You know it's gonna help you. You know it's gonna help your team to get this done. Why not just go ahead and do it and get it over with? I don't,
Well, the reason they're doing it that way is because this is what they do. And we've talked about this dozens of times on our show. And at the end of the day, they are the outlier in every way, whether it's the way they don't do free agency, the way they do contracts. They're on an island by themselves.
You made
So,
a good point last night when we were talking about this, and you were saying
mm,
that because you made a good point because, and I don't even really remember what you said. I'm just gonna ask you to re-say what you said, and you was just saying it. I mean, to interrupt you, but you made a good point, and I know you made a good point because when I sat down to watch the game, my whole thing and my whole position was it's on Micah now. You know what I'm saying? It's on Micah because Jerry is telling them tell Micah come up in here and handle it. But after you said what you said, I was like, well, damn, it is on Jerry. It is on the Joneses. You know what I mean? That kind of changed my mind. Basically, what you said, you was just saying it. This is what they do. You know, this is not only just this. I mean, not participating in free agency, not the way they hire coaches. I mean, it's just like this is not a big deal. This is taking the attention off of the many other things that is the problem with this organization.
yeah, it just goes back to the football, the non-football guys doing non-football things, the way they handle business, and they had to know that really in this NFL, you got a window where you can actually go out and make a difference, and this will be one of those years when you can put your team together and compete. And but they're doing their look. It's a broken record. They do what they do. Just him talking to Micah, and Micah is a different dude. Because the same exact thing happened with Dez back in the day. They were up in the suite, and he tried to do the same thing with Dez, and Dez just cut him off and told him, we're not going there. Dak, they tried to do the same thing with Dak. Dak was like, no, we're not talking any contract at all. And Dak, a few weeks ago, he talked about how he had a lot of conversations with them, dozens of times, but every time they talked about contracts and he knew it. He just told them we're not doing it. And that's what Micah should have did when they had that sideline conversation. But Micah is a different guy, so it's all coming down to at this point. You're getting ready for the season now. The last preseason game is over, and so you got to look at what is affecting the team. And to his credit, Micah did say that he's been in all the install meetings. He's been doing all of the studying with the guys. They said that he was actually helping the guys in some of the meetings, kind of understand what they were doing. So that part, that's not going to be a problem. But the Philadelphia game, if you don't get this thing done in the next few days, you might be in a situation where he's not able to play in the game. If he
But
does, he's gonna give you a few snaps.
yeah, well, but I don't know about that, and I don't know why people. I don't know why people are saying that. These guys are NFL athletes. They've been playing their whole life. This ain't nothing like this. Ain't no. This ain't no. I gotta go out here and get ramped up and all of that. Micah can put on pads and go play. It ain't no big deal. It
Yeah,
ain't.
I agree with what you're saying. But you know, in NFL, when you doing certain things with your pass on, I mean, it's look, can he do it? He can. The same with Diggs. You know, we've got this conversation now about Diggs. If he gonna play in the first game, and honestly, a lot of our starters didn't play anyway. Didn't play any games. But yeah, it's but again, when you just put it all in a box, when you look at the guys that were set during the game during the preseason, Michael hasn't been there as a management, as front office. This was not the best way to do that, but this is what they do. They do this with so many different areas. The way they do things. They say Patrick Mahomes played last night. I mean,
He
this is
did.
like so the way the Cowboys do things. Again, they are the outlier, and what they have to be called to the carpet on is, they're the team that's remaining that hasn't been to an NFC Championship game in 30 years. And then you said that they're the only team that hasn't won a divisional game. I guess that's what you're calling it. Whatever. What's the second game? Is that called a divisional round?
Yeah,
They haven't won a divisional round game in 30 years.
they
So
haven't. They
it's
haven't won a they haven't won a second playoff game in 30 years.
and B Bird, I'm gonna send you a message here in a minute, but because we're not gonna be on long here because we're gonna be doing something else for something else that Jules is working on. But
Hey,
have you
but
heard? Yeah, go
uh,
ahead.
I'm gonna tell B Bird. So we need to talk about how, and we need to put this out there. Like, we the content creators started the 30-year thing. We did that. We talked about the 30-year thing last year, and all of a sudden now it's everywhere. And now the Joneses are saying it, and now Patrick Walker is saying it, and all of that. Well, the next thing that we need to put out there as content creators is not only the 30-year thing. We need to say two things. We need to say they haven't won a second playoff game in 30 years. And we need to put out there in bold letters, they haven't won a second playoff game in the salary cap era. When
Mm-hmm.
they won their first championship, when Jerry was won those championships with Jimmy and Barry, there was no salary cap.
Yeah.
When so that's why I'm just like,
So they
oh,
haven't they haven't they haven't advanced since the salary cap went into effect. I mean that's
right,
true.
and these people are always talking about, oh yeah, what you talking about? You went and got Emmett, and you went and got Dion, and he's talking about, I'm gonna pay Dion, and I went and got this person, and I did that, and the Herschel Walker trade, and I did this, and I did that. The reason, well, not only is it not the same Jerry Jones, it's not the same NFL. It was like baseball. You could go get those people because there was no salary cap. See, they haven't managed the salary cap in 30 years. They haven't been able to do it. So
And,
let me
and right and right now they have plenty of cap space. And
let's
signing Michael would give you even more.
let me ask you this, and which is why it's absolutely ludicrous for him to sit up in a conference today or yesterday, and I mean sit up in a press conference or whatever, an interview, and say it's so much of the pie to go around. We know that that's
Uh,
not true.
and then we had the return of the pie too from Charlotte Jones.
We know that that's not true. No, Jerry said it too. We know that
Yeah.
that's not true, and then he also said that it's just his way to wait it out. That's just
Well,
not
in
okay.
the interview, Stephen A. called him out on that. He told him, he said, by you waiting, you're spending way more than you could have saved. So Stephen A. brought that up, and that doesn't, Stephen A. Again, give him credit because some of the stuff that he said in the interview, your average lay media person, and you know what he did that we talked about on the show with B Bird, by the way. I said that there's a way you can ask these questions without being offensive and making him like. So that's what Stephen A. did. He asked the tough questions, but he asked them in such a way that Jerry really wasn't offended, and he gave good responses.
But see, the thing about that is, and I agree with you. But my thing is like this. See, the diehard Cowboy fans need to be asking these questions. It's not, not Stephen A. Because a diehard Cowboy fan would know what to respond with when he responds with what we know he gonna respond with.
And Stephen A. did that.
He
You got
didn't.
you got to watch the interview. Oh, you watched it?
Yeah, I watched
You
it.
don't
I
you don't
watched.
think he did?
Nah, because it's just like when you ask him about the 30 years, when you ask him about the waiting on contract players and all, waiting on the contract and all that, and then Jerry comes back and says, "Oh well, yeah, but what about when I paid those guys earlier and I should
Yeah.
have waited?" And so we knew he was going to say that. And so what you got to come back with after that is you got to say, well, but Jerry, those were players like Michael Gallup and Terrence Steele. Those were not players like Dak Prescott, C.D. Lamb, and Micah Parsons. It's two totally different.
They wasn't the best at their position.
They wasn't the best at their position at all. So that doesn't. So that response to that question doesn't.
Yeah.
It's you get a big red X on that. That doesn't answer the question because it doesn't apply to what is actually happening. Just like I was going to say, you have to ask Jerry if there was a salary cap in place when you first bought the team, would you be able to sign Deion Sanders? Would you would have went and did the Herschel Walker trade? Would
No,
you
Steven would not have allowed him to do it.
Okay, so if there was a salary cap in the 90s, would you have 3 championships?
No.
Because you wouldn't. So I mean, so the bottom line is this: the Dallas Cowboys organization. Nana texted me yesterday, and she was telling me about. She sent me a video about of Dale Hansen. Now, if you're a diehard Cowboy fan, you know Dale Hansen and Jerry Jones don't get along. So Dale Hansen was talking about Jerry Jones being a general manager, and Stephen A was talking about Jerry Jones being the general manager. You have to have diehard fans asking these questions and doing these interviews, because if you're a diehard fan, you understand that Jerry's general manager title is just a title. He's not the general manager. He just does. He just says that he is. He's not the general manager. He doesn't do general manager things. The general manager consists of 3 to 4 people: Stephen Jones, Adam Pacifica, Will McClay, and then if you want to just throw Jerry in there, throw him in there. But this is like the president's cabinet.
But here's what I think, and we talked about this on our last show with Bieber. I do believe when they have to sign these big contracts, Jerry definitely gets involved because he's looking at his bottom line, and we believe these contracts, have some impact on their personal finances. So he absolutely gets involved in these. Now, I think like the Bland contract, if they're working on that, like Ferguson, he probably didn't really do a whole lot on that contract. This contract right here is going to be the biggest contract they've signed other than Dak. It's a huge deal.
Well, I can, to add to your point, and to make my point make sense, and to add to your point, to glue them together, I put it like this: he is involved with the contracts because this is his brand. So they adapt his philosophy. It's just like when you go to Chick-fil-A, the person that's taking your order at Chick-fil-A, they have adapted the owner's characteristics and policy. The policy is, this is how you behave, this is how you act, this is what you do, this is how you do, everything is right. So they do that even though they're not involved in the so Stephen and Adam and Will, they have adapted Jerry's policy and his characteristics, so they think it's okay to wait just like he does, because because he did that. Somebody has to come in and challenge the whole thing from the top.
Well, that's what Micah is doing.
You know what I'm saying? And but Micah, I hate to say it like this, Michael, you failed at that. So it's time to move on to the next contract, because when we first started this, you was talking about getting it done early to save money for the team. Well, we all know that you getting it done early or later really doesn't have any impact on saving money for the team, because if you was to do it early and they still did it wrong, it wouldn't save money.
But I would say one thing that Micah did accomplish, especially if he stays on the team, from here on out, 2 things are not going to happen again. One, Jerry will not be talking to players anymore in any kind of, especially somebody that's coming up for a contract. So Tyler Smith, George Pickens, if they get to him, they won't be doing any conversations with Jerry. Number 2, every player from here on out, they're not going to be in camp. They're not coming to camp. So that's a wrap on that. So
they will be.
They won't be holding in. They're going to be holding out.
Yeah,
so,
I want to say a couple things too about this. Now, one thing I want to mention that's kind of scary is that all of David Mulugheta's past agents, past players that have done this, they got traded. Jalen Ramsey, he got traded. he missed it. He got traded. Deshaun Watson, he got traded. Uh, so a lot of these people that David Mulligata have, they get traded. They go to another team. And then also, I wanted to say, um, you know, dang, I forgot. You know,
So,
David Mulligata
so
and
shout out to True Cowboy fan 1972 Swain. Appreciate you guys joining.
Jared not extending Micah. Now he said Micah has 3 years. Well, he
Yeah,
does have 3 years. You know, they can tag him twice, and this is his
yeah.
last year. So
But on David Mulligata, I'll say this: the corner you mentioned, what's his name?
Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey. I think he's a unique client. I wouldn't put him in with other people because the first time he got traded, he was just on a losing team and he didn't really want to. He didn't want to be there. He was just on a. And Jacksonville is not a nice place to live. It's one of the. It's not. It's not a. It's not Dallas, what you're used to. So
Nah.
it's not somewhere you want to. Do put your roots down. So he wanted to get out of there. He went to the Rams. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, I'm curious to see who some of his other clients are, but he's got a lot of clients that they deals get done, and it's no problem. So, but yeah, but he's a tough agent, and Todd France, the way this contract went with Dak last year, the exact same thing is happening that happened with Todd France and Dak. Uh, Dak was in camp too, but and honestly, and this is well documented. Jerry did not want to play Dak. He didn't. I
Mm-mm.
mean, I say play. He didn't want to pay Dak. He
No.
took his time. Brian Broaddus is on record saying that Jerry was talking to a lot of people in the front office about having to pay Dak. Is he still the player that can take us to a championship? And
Mm.
so he's asking the same questions now by Micah. But again, when he has to pay these huge, significant contracts, this is what Jerry does.
Yeah, I mean, and then on top of that, you know what I'm saying? It's just like they have said that there's a stat out there that says that as far as EPA per play, the Dallas Cowboys are the worst when Michael's not on the field, and they're the best when he's on the field. So that literally means that as far as EPA per play goes, that means that the Cowboys are the best, the best defense in the league when he's on the field, and they're the worst when he's not.
So he was at the game last night. They had some kind of mess because he was at one point he was laying on a training table. You don't ever know what Micah's doing, but other parts of the game he was on the sideline, and the last part of the game he was standing. He was sitting on the bench with Trayvon and I think it was Pickens. So, but he didn't have his jersey on for the first time. So
Yeah,
of
I mean,
course, people are talking about that, and he unfollowed the Cowboys. So that's kind of what we predicted. We knew this how this was going to go. This wasn't going to be a easy deal, but hopefully the playmaker can get them together and just kind of be a broker. Michael Irvin. They one of his nickname is the Godfather. So the playmaker might be able to get the parties talking. Hopefully they doing it today, this weekend, get this thing wrapped and just go ahead and get it done, and everybody can just keep
I
it
mean,
moving.
we keep on going past deadlines. I think that we got another deadline. The next deadline for me is the dead period. We're finna go through a week without nothing. So,
Yeah.
you know,
So we wanted to put this video out here real quick, guys. So B Bird, I'm gonna send you a note here in a minute and see when you're available, and we'll reach out and because we didn't get to do our show with him on Wednesday, and we'll do that. So you want to go ahead and just wrap this? We almost at 30 minutes.
yeah.
And
So
then we
we'll,
might come back on. We'll see if B Bird available later if we come on or
yeah,
or tomorrow because we're gonna start having some cuts come down.
yeah,
We got to talk about it. And we got to talk about the game last night, and then we got to talk about the cuts.
yeah. Because I don't think Mozzie gonna make it.
Well, that's one thing we got to talk about. But
Yeah. So, yeah. So we just want to throw this out here real quick, y'all. So, we'll be back probably if not later on tonight, then maybe tomorrow when some cuts come down. So, y'all stay tuned, and we'll be back. We'll be back shortly. It might not be tonight, or it might be. We don't know yet. So we'll see. And y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and share the videos. And we'll see y'all next time.